The watching eyes, the great throne room of the alien queen was silent. Only the sound of soft breathing and the low hum of machines could be heard. In front of the queen, a giant screen floated in the air showing a battle far away. Humans were fighting machines, blood, fire, metal, screams. She watched everything without blinking. Her name was Queen Syrexa. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes deep violet like the night sky. She was tall, graceful, and deadly. Many feared her, many worshipped her, but few truly understood her. Today she was not watching for war. She was searching for something. Else beside her stood her council. Tall alien warriors dressed in gold and black armor. They stood still waiting for her command. But she said nothing. On the screen, soldiers ran. Machines chased them. Cold, merciless killers with sharp limbs and glowing red eyes. Humans fight with emotion. One advisor finally said, "Not strategy. They will fall like all the others." Queen Syrexa did not answer. Her eyes moved slowly across the screen. She saw pain. She saw fear. She saw death. And then, she saw him. A human soldier separated from his team. His armor was broken. His arm was bleeding, but still he fought. He picked up a fallen weapon and kept moving forward. She leaned forward slightly. This one was different. She zoomed in on the screen with a gesture. The image grew clearer. The man's face was rough, tired, but full of fire. There was rage in his eyes, but also something rare. Hope. "Who is he?" she asked. The council looked at each other. "Just a soldier," one said. "A lower rank. He should be dead already." "But he is not," she replied softly. On the screen, the soldier jumped over a fallen wall. He helped another wounded human. He faced a machine alone, using only a small blade. Somehow, he survived. He moved like a man with nothing left to lose. Queen Syrexa's eyes narrowed. "He refuses to die," she whispered. No one spoke. The room felt colder. "I want him," she said. The council shifted uncomfortably. "Your Highness," one of them said, "this human is weak, fragile. Why take interest in him? Our people will not understand." She stood up from her throne slowly. Her long robe flowed behind her like a river of stars. "Because," she said, walking toward the screen, "in the heart of war, when hope is gone, only true warriors remain, standing. And he is still standing." Her fingers moved across the air. Strange symbols appeared, glowing purple. "Send a retrieval drone. Lock on his position. Bring him here, alive." "Yes, my queen," a voice answered. She turned back toward the screen, watching the human. On the battlefield, the soldier hid behind cover. 3 machines surrounded him. He looked at his gun. It was empty. His hand reached into his pocket. One last grenade. He pulled the pin. Before he could throw it, a bright light flashed around him. Everything froze. The machines stopped moving. The light swallowed him whole. And then, he was gone. Queen Syrexa smiled. The council looked uneasy. "What will you do with him?" one of them asked. She sat back on her throne. "Watch," she said simply. "Learn. Maybe he is the key." Outside the palace, far across the stars, the machines continued their war. Humans screamed, died, fought. But one soldier had vanished, taken by the queen, marked by her eyes. And somewhere deep in the palace, a new story had begun, one that would shake both worlds. The captured darkness. That was all he saw when he opened his eyes. No sky, no ground. Just floating in a black, endless space. No sound, no air, no pain. Then, a cold wind touched his skin. Sergeant Darren Hale gasped, sucking in breath like a drowning man. He coughed, rolled over, and reached for a weapon that wasn't there. He wasn't on the battlefield anymore. The floor beneath him was smooth, like metal, but softer. Glowing lines pulsed beneath it, blue, like veins under skin. The air smelled strange. Too clean. Artificial. He sat up slowly, muscles aching. What? Where the hell am I? He muttered. The last thing he remembered. Machines closing in. No ammo. One grenade. The flash of light. Now this. As he looked around, the room lit up. Walls of dark crystal shifted, revealing tall mirrors or maybe screens. They showed visions of the battle he had just escaped, but not from above. They were watching him. "Who's there?" Darren shouted. No answer, but he felt it. Eyes on him. Many eyes. He stood, fists clenched, ready to fight even with no weapons. "Show yourself." A door melted open, not slid, melted like ice under fire. 5 tall figures walked in. Alien guards, skin like stone, eyes glowing white. Their armor shimmered, alive with energy. They surrounded him. Darren backed up. "Stay. Away from me." They didn't listen. When the first one reached for him, he punched it, hard. It staggered back, surprised. He grabbed a fallen weapon and swung it like a club. 2 more came at him. He fought like a cornered animal. Wild, desperate, silent. But they were stronger. A sharp beam of light hit his chest. His body froze. He fell to his knees, still awake but unable to move. A voice echoed from above, not loud, not cruel, but cold, curious, powerful, enough. The guards stopped moving. The floor parted in silence, and a figure rose from below, tall, cloaked in shadows, silver-blue skin glowing softly. Queen, Syrixa, this was not a recording. She was here, in front of him. Real. Darren stared up at her, breathing hard, still paralyzed. "You are more dangerous than you look," she said calmly. "Good," he growled. "What do you want from me?" "You." He blinked. "What?" "I want to understand why you fight like this," she said, circling him slowly. "You were losing, broken, bleeding, alone. Yet you kept moving, kept fighting, even when you knew you would die." He said nothing. She knelt beside him, staring into his eyes. Hers were deep, glowing purple, like galaxies spinning. "You fascinate me, human," she whispered. "Your kind. Your rage. Your will." He spat on the floor. "I didn't ask to be your pet." She smiled. "You are not a pet. You are a puzzle." Suddenly, the paralysis faded. Darren fell forward, catching himself on shaking arms. Stood up, eye to eye with her. "Send me back," he said. She tilted her head. "To what? Your army has left. Your people think you are dead. The machines are hunting everything that breathes. You have no place there." His fists clenched. "Then, kill me, because I'm not yours." She stepped back, letting silence fill the room. "You may believe that now," she said, "but this is only the beginning." The walls shifted again, revealing something outside, a sky of black fire, towers taller than mountains, and ships, the size of cities flying in silence. "You are in my world now," she said, "a world older than yours, stronger than machines. But we are not safe, not anymore." He looked at the view, stunned. "What is this place?" "Cyrell," she answered. "My home. And soon, maybe yours." A door opened behind him. "Rest," she said. "Eat, watch, and think." "Why me?" he asked again. "You have armies, machines, scientists. Why bring me?" Queen Syrixa paused. For the first time, her voice changed. Softer. Not weakness. Something else. "Because when I watched you fight, I saw a fire that even my people have lost. I saw something no machine could copy. Something ancient." He stared at her. "And what if I don't give it to you?" She smiled slightly. "Then I will take it." The guards stepped back. The door closed behind him, locking him in a new room. It was bright, quiet, almost comfortable, but every wall was watching him. He sat down on the edge of the strange bed, staring at the floor. Alone. But he could feel her eyes. Always watching. He didn't know what she wanted. Not really. But deep down he felt it. This wasn't a rescue. It was the beginning of something bigger, and he was the center of it. The claim he didn't sleep. Not for a second. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Like a trap pretending to be a bed. Darren Hale sat against the far wall staring at the door, arms crossed, eyes wide open, waiting. His human brain told him this was a prison. His soldier instincts agreed. But something deeper, something he didn't understand, told him this was not a normal enemy. This was a game. And the Queen was watching every move. Then, the door slid open. Not a guard this time. Her Queen Syrexa entered alone. No soldiers, no weapons. Just her, dressed in a dark robe that shimmered like deep water under stars. Her eyes glowed softly in the dim light. Not cold. Not warm. Just calculating. "You didn't sleep," she said. He didn't answer. "Your kind needs rest. Food. Safety. Yet you reject all." "Because this isn't safe," he replied. She smiled. "Good. You learn fast." She walked toward him, slow and unhurried, like a lion who already owned the cage. "Tell me, human," she said, "what is your name?" "Why?" "You planning to write it on my grave?" "No," she said softly. "I plan to write it in our history." He stood up, taller than most men, but still shorter than her. He met her eyes anyway. "Sergeant Darren Hale?" She nodded. "Hale. That name suits you." A pause. Long, heavy. "Why am I still alive?" he asked. "You had your chance. I attacked your guards, insulted your throne. You could have killed me." "Yes," she said. He frowned. "So why didn't you?" Queen Syrexa looked at him for a long time. Then she raised her hand and touched a panel on the wall. Suddenly, the room melted away. The floor opened up, rising high above the palace. Walls vanished, revealing the alien world outside. Sorel, towers, like teeth, glowing rivers. Moons floating so close you could almost touch them. Beneath them, armies trained. Ships launched. Warriors marched in silence. And at the center of it all, her throne. "You see this?" she said. "This is mine, all of it. I was born into power, shaped by war. I command species, fleets, planets." She turned to face him. "But not you." He didn't flinch. "No," he said. "Not me." She walked closer again, no longer circling him like a predator. This time she stood still. Close, eye to eye. "Do you know what you did on the battlefield?" she asked. "I stayed alive." "No," she said, voice low. "You were the only one the machines turned away from. They knew you would not stop. They feared waste. They feared you." He looked confused for a second. "Machines don't fear." "They do now," she whispered. "Because of you." A long silence, then she said something he didn't expect. "I choose you." He blinked. "For what?" "For everything," she said. "You are not a prisoner. You are not my guest." She stepped closer, her voice like a spell. "You are my warrior mate," he laughed once, sharp, bitter. "You think I'm going to stand next to you, rule your armies, sleep in your palace like some kind of alien trophy?" "No," she said. "I think you're going to burn this galaxy with me." He shook his head. "I don't belong here." "You don't belong there either," she replied. He looked away. The memories of Earth, his lost squad, the silence after the battlefield, they all hit him at once. He didn't answer. She took a step back, sensing the shift in him. Not weakness, conflict. "You have no orders now, no chain of command, no mission, no war to fight." "I'll find one," he said. "Or you will accept mine," she said. "And if I don't?" Her eyes narrowed, not with anger, but certainty. Then I will keep you here, until the stars die, and you will watch as everything you knew fades, until I am all that remains. His breath caught, not in fear, in recognition, because somehow, deep down, a part of him understood her. She was not human, but she had the same disease. War. She was made from it, just like him. And now she wanted to bind him to her. Not with love, not with chains, but with purpose. He stared at her for a long time, then said one word. No. She nodded, without anger. You will. Later, as the night passed and he sat in silence once again, a voice echoed from the walls. Hers. Recorded, or live, he couldn't tell. You can fight me, Darren Hale, she said. But soon, you'll fight for me. And you won't even know when it happened. He clenched his fists, because somewhere inside, he feared she was right. The walls closed around him. Darren Hale stood inside a metal chamber deep beneath the alien palace. No windows. No door behind him. Only one path forward. Cold air touched his skin, and strange lights ran along the floor. Like veins, he was not told where he was going. No one spoke, not even the Queen. But he knew. This was a test, and the first rule of a test in an alien world: no rules. He walked slowly, fists clenched. His body still ached from before, but his mind was sharper than ever. Focused, alert. Then the voice came, not loud, not soft. Just there. You survived the battlefield. Now survive this. Queen Syrexa, always watching, always near, but never close. The floor dropped beneath him. He fell. Hard, rolled across a stone surface, sharp and rough. The air changed, hot, dry, electric, like breathing sparks. He stood, coughing, and looked around. A new room, or maybe an arena. The walls were high, too high to climb. Above him, alien faces stared down from dark ledges. Some wore armor, some robes. Some looked human, some didn't even have faces. They watched in silence, waiting, judging, and at the highest ledge of all, the Queen stood, alone. Then, the gates opened. 3 creatures walked in, tall, twisted, armor fused into their flesh. Not machine, not alien, something in between. Trial beasts. The crowd whispered. Darren took a step back, breathing slow. No weapon, no armor, just him. The Queen's voice echoed again. You say you're not mine. Prove it. The first beast charged. He dodged left, barely escaping its claws. He grabbed a rock, swung it into its side. The beast roared, unfazed. Another came from behind. He rolled forward, jumped, kicked it in the throat. This one stumbled. They could be hurt, but not easily. They circled him now, learning him, just like he was learning them. His heart raced. Lungs burned. Blood from a cut above his eye ran down. His cheek still, he smiled. Bring it, he whispered. The second beast struck again. He grabbed its arm, twisted, broke a joint with raw force, stole its weapon, a blade shaped like bone. Now, it was a real fight. The crowd gasped as he moved like a man with nothing to lose, like a storm wrapped in skin. He ducked, slashed, roared, back at them. Every cut he took, he gave back double. He didn't fight like a soldier anymore. He fought like a monster, and when the last beast fell, bleeding black smoke, Darren stood in the middle of the arena, alone, breathing hard, arms shaking. Eyes wild, then silence. No cheers, just eyes. Watching. Queen Syrexa raised her hand. A new door opened. More enemies. This time, not beasts, warriors, trained, armored, intelligent. And behind them, a voice spoke in his mind. This is not about survival anymore. This is about loyalty. Darren frowned. What? A pause. Then, Queen Syrexa said something no one expected. The man to your right is from Earth. Darren's eyes widened. One of the warriors removed his helmet. It was true. A human, scared, dirty, bruised, but real. They captured me 2 weeks ago, the man said. We can escape. Together. Come on. Follow me now while they're watching you. Darren took a step forward. The Queen's voice cut in again. Kill him. His blood froze. What? Kill him. Or die with him. Darren looked up at her, rage burning in his chest. You want to see if I'll murder my own kind? He shouted. I want to see who you really are, she replied coldly. The other warriors stepped back, leaving just the 2 humans in the center. The man backed away. From Darren. Don't do this, we can fight her, escape, there's still hope. Darren stood still. This wasn't just a test of strength. This was a test of soul. His fists clenched. His jaw tightened. He turned slowly and threw the stolen blade on the ground. You don't get to choose who I am, he said to the Queen. Not today, the crowd whispered, shocked, confused. The Queen said nothing. The human man smiled. Thank you, he whispered, and then his eyes turned red. Not human. Never human. Darren's instincts kicked in too late. The imposter lunged at him, blade in hand. Fast, too fast, but Darren was faster. He grabbed the creature's arm, twisted and slammed it into the ground. 1 punch, 2, 3. The creature's face changed back. Something alien, sharp, and full of lies. Darren stood up, breathing hard. Next time, he said, looking straight at the Queen, you ask what kind of man I am. Try not lying first. For the first time, she laughed, low, soft, but real. The walls opened once more. The arena faded into mist. Darren dropped to his knees, exhausted, angry, confused, and somewhere deep in that emotion, something was growing. Not hate, a connection. Twisted, dangerous, unspoken. The rebellion inside the palace of Queen Syrexa was silent again. But this time, the silence was not peace. It was fear, not among the common people. No. They still bowed, still whispered the Queen's name with respect, maybe even love. The fear lived behind closed doors, in the war rooms, in the council chambers, in the halls where shadows walked, even when the sun was high, and all of it. Because of him. In a chamber of polished black stone, 3 alien nobles sat in a circle. Each one older than most stars, draped in robes that held power more than armor ever could. One spoke first. She keeps him alive. Another nodded. She watches him more than she watches us. The third leaned forward, whispering. She calls him warrior mate. Those words fell like a curse between them. Silence again. Then, the first noble said what the others feared to say. If the human becomes her equal, then what are we? No one answered. They all knew the truth. The Queen was beginning to change. And change was the enemy of old power. Darren Hale didn't know any of this. Not yet. He was walking the edge of the palace, deep inside a training hall. Alone. His body still, hurt from the trials. His knuckles were cut. His ribs were bruised. But pain no longer surprised him. What surprised him was how familiar it all felt now. The palace. The air. Even the Queen's voice echoing through his thoughts. He hated that part. That slow, quiet part of his mind that kept asking, what if I belong here? He forced it down, harder each day, but the question remained. That night, Queen Syrexa summoned him. No warning, no guards, just a door opening, and a soft voice. Come. He entered a smaller chamber this time. No throne, no army, just her, standing, by a long table made of glass and starlight. Maps floated above it, galaxies, planets, battles. He stopped in the doorway. Why am I here? She didn't look up. You've passed the trials. The council requested your release. His brow tightened. Release? They believe your purpose is complete, that you should be sent back to your kind. He laughed, once short. So now they care? No, she said. Now they are afraid. She finally looked at him, afraid of what you are becoming. He stepped closer. And what am I becoming, Your Highness? Her voice dropped to a whisper. A threat to the throne. A pause. Then they both smiled, not from joy, from truth. She gestured to the map above the table. There is a rebellion forming, not out there, in here, within my walls, my council, my blood. He crossed his arms. And you think it's because of me? I know it is, she said. You are not just human anymore. You are mine. He stiffened. I'm not yours. Not by chain, she said, but by fire. He didn't understand her words, not fully, but he understood what came next. Someone will try to kill you, she said softly. Soon. They won't come with blades. They'll come with smiles. He studied her. And what do you want me to do? Survive. Later that night, Darren sat alone in his quarters thinking. The walls felt closer now, like they were listening. He checked every corner. Nothing. But the queen had been right before. Someone would come, sooner than he thought. A knock at the door. He turned fast. A woman entered. Tall, gold eyes, robes of the queen's court. She bowed. My name is Marix. I serve the inner temple. He didn't answer. She stepped closer. Too close. You are not safe, she whispered. They plan to poison you. They will blame it on the kitchen. His hand went to the blade under the table. Why are you telling me this? He asked. Because I want to help, she said. He narrowed his eyes. Or maybe because you want to see how I react. She smiled. And that smile. Too perfect. Too smooth. Too trained. He moved fast. Slammed the table into her side. She dropped something small. A needle. Not a warning. An assassin. She struck back fast with alien skill. He dodged, rolled, threw her into the wall. A fight. Fast. Silent. Deadly. But she was no soldier. She was trained for poison, not war. Within seconds, she was on the ground. Unmoving, but alive. He tied her with cords from the wall, dragged her to the hallway and hit the emergency sigil. Guards came, he said nothing, only one word, traitor. The queen watched from her private chamber. No emotion, no surprise, only satisfaction. The next day, the council met, a storm of voices. He killed a temple servant. He acted alone. He is a danger. Queen Syrexa raised her hand. Silence. He saved his own life, she said, and exposed a rebel within my court, and you question him? The nobles fell silent, some from shame, some from fear, some from growing hate. And in the shadows behind them more whispers began. Darren Hale walked the palace halls again, but now the glances were longer, the voices quieter, and the weapons closer. He was no longer just a man who had survived. He was a symbol, and symbols have power, and power always attracts enemies. The war begins. 3 suns rose over Zerald, red, white, violet. It should have been beautiful. But the sky was full of warships. They hung like shadows over the palace, some shaped like wings, others like daggers, all ready to rain fire. Alien banners floated in space, glowing with the queen's crest. And behind them, far behind them, a new signal was coming. Human. Darren Hale stood on the highest balcony, looking up at the black horizon. He knew that signal. Weak, pulsing, but familiar. Earth, his people had found him. They're coming, he whispered. Behind him, Queen Syrexa stood in silence, her eyes fixed on the same sky. Yes, she said, but so are the machines. In the war chamber, alarms echoed. A general pointed at the star map. Red lines flashed. Machine fleet approaching from the outer rim. 6 waves. Massive size. What about the human ship? Darren asked. A second voice replied. A scout vessel, armed, but light. Too small to fight, likely a rescue team. He stared at the screen. Rescue, or reconnaissance, or something. Worse. The Queen turned to him. "Will you speak to them?" she asked. He hesitated. "What if they think I'm captured?" "Are you?" He didn't answer. Hours passed. Ships moved into orbit. Zerel activated its defenses. Ancient towers rose from the ground, charging with alien energy. The skies were about to burn, and beneath the surface, deep in the Queen's court, a final betrayal was ready to begin. In the throne hall, 3 of the Queen's council stood in a hidden room, robes off, armor on. "We strike now," one whispered, "while the Queen watches the stars." "What about the human?" another asked. "He dies with her." They moved fast. 3 ghosts with blades, heading for the throne. Meanwhile, in the tower hangar, Darren stood before a small craft. The Queen had offered him a choice. "Go," she said. "Fly to your people. Talk to them. Tell them what you've seen. Or don't. Stay here. Fight with us." He looked at her. "What do you want me to choose?" Her voice was quiet. "I want you to choose me, but I won't ask you to." His hand hovered over the control panel. Freedom. Home. But something in his chest pulled him back. Not love, not duty. Something else. Bond. He turned. "I'm not going." She blinked. "Why?" "Because I finally know what I am." A pause. "A soldier?" "No," he said. "A weapon. And the machines are about to find out what happens when you point a weapon at the wrong Queen." Then, screams. Guards running. Through the halls. Blood on the floor. The betrayal had begun. 3 armored assassins stormed the throne chamber, blades drawn. But the Queen was waiting. She stood tall, unarmed, surrounded by fire. "You dare raise your hand against your Queen?" she said. They didn't answer. They attacked. She fought back. No armor, no sword, just power. Her hands glowed with energy as ancient as her crown. One assassin screamed as lightning tore through his chest, but 2 remained. One reached her side. Blade raised, and then Darren appeared. He tackled the assassin, drove him through a stone pillar. The 2 crashed to the ground, fighting like animals. The last traitor slashed at the Queen. She blocked it with her arm, bleeding, but didn't fall. "You will die with your human," the assassin growled. "No," she said. "I will reign with him." Her blade pierced his chest, and it was over. The palace shook. Outside, the war had arrived. The machines were here. They poured from the skies like a plague of metal and fire. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, and right behind them, a world killer, a ship the size of a moon. Darren and Sorexa ran to the command deck. Chaos. Explosions. Messages flooding in. "North wall breached. Sector 6 offline. Our shields are failing." The Queen looked at Darren. "Can you lead them?" she asked. He didn't hesitate. Yes. He put on the battle armor they had made for him. Black and silver, carved with the Queen's crest. He didn't feel like a man anymore. He felt like judgment. Outside, alien warriors stood in formation. Some looked at him with doubt, others with fear, but none questioned him when he spoke. "The machines think we are weak," he shouted. "They think we are broken." He raised his blade. "So let's show them what happens when you back a warrior into a corner." They roared, and the battle began. On the front lines, he led the charge. The machines came with everything: fire, drones, hunters, horrors. But Darren didn't back down. He fought like he had on Earth. Wild, merciless, free. He took 100 wounds, and gave 1,000 more. But then, a blast. Not from the front, from the sky. The world killer ship fired once. The palace shook, and Darren was thrown into rubble. He couldn't move. His chest was broken. Blood filled his mouth. Darkness began to close. In then, a shadow above him, tall, glowing her. She fell to her knees beside him, touched his face. "Don't die," she whispered. He tried to speak. Couldn't. Her hand gripped his armor. Her voice shook. "You were never mine," she said. "But I am yours now." She stood, turned to the world killer, lifted both arms, and the sky cracked. Light poured from her body, the ancient power of her bloodline unleashed. The ground trembled, the enemy screamed, and the machine godship was destroyed hours later. When he awoke, the battle was over. The sky was blue again. The palace stood, scarred but proud. And beside him, sitting quietly, Queen Syrexa waited. "You lived," she said. "Not alone," he replied, "the warrior mate." The fires had died. The sky was quiet. No more ships, no more screams, just smoke curling into the clouds like the last breath of a fallen god. Cyrell had survived. Barely. Alien warriors dragged wounded from the rubble. Healers worked in silence. Machines lay in twisted metal heaps across the shattered fields. But one battlefield, one heart still hadn't healed. Darren Hale lay inside the inner chamber, breathing slow, alive, but broken. His body wrapped in silver bandages, bones fused by alien tech. Chest plate melted into his skin like a scar that would never fade. For 3 days he hadn't spoken, not because he couldn't, but because he didn't know what to say. What do you say when you've changed into something you don't recognize? Queen Syrexa sat beside him, not as a ruler, not as a conqueror, but as something far rarer in her kind, a woman in silence. For 3 days, she didn't command, didn't whisper to spies, didn't read from war tablets. She only watched him. The man who'd fought an army for her, the man who said no when everyone else said yes, the man who might become her greatest weapon or her deepest regret. On the 4th day, he finally spoke. His voice was rough, slow, but steady. Was it worth it? Was it worth? She didn't pretend to misunderstand. She looked at the window. What was left of it? "We're alive," she said. "But how many aren't?" "Too many," she replied. He sat up, wincing. "Your people still look at me like I'm a threat." "You are," she said, "to everything we used to be." He looked at her now, deeply. "And what are we now?" Later, she took him to the edge of the city. Towers cracked, smoke rising, but life still moving. Children played in the ruins. Elders offered food to wounded soldiers, and on the highest point, a massive statue was being carved from alien stone. His face. Not in glory, not in victory, but in defiance. A warrior standing alone against a tide of fire. He stared at it. "Why would you do that? Why would you?" "Because they need to remember," she said. "What? That a human saved them?" "No," she whispered. "That a human chose us." That night, the palace hosted a gathering, not a celebration, not a feast, a decision. The remaining council gathered, those who had survived the war and the betrayal. They knelt before her throne and beside her. He stood, dressed not in armor, but in deep ceremonial cloth, black and violet, marked with the symbol of flame and steel. Her symbol. Whispers echoed across the room. He should return to his world. He belongs to Earth. He's not one of us. Queen Syrexa stood. "You're right," she said. "He is not one of us." A pause. Then, "He is better." The room fell silent. She turned to him. "You were once my prisoner, then my puzzle, then my protector. Now," she stepped forward, "I offer you one final role, not as my soldier, a breath, but as my equal." She lifted a crown, not made of gold, but of alien crystal and fractured steel, salvaged from the machines he had destroyed, a symbol of chaos reforged. She held it out, and the entire palette held its breath. He didn't move. His hands stayed at his sides. His mind raced. Home. Earth. His squad. Memories of gunfire. Smoke. Laughter. Silence. The life he had lost, could he still return? Would he even be the same? Was there even a place for him? Or had war reshaped him into something else? Something that no longer fit inside the skin of human? He stepped forward, took the crown, and dropped it to the floor. Gasps. Guards reached for weapons. Advisors whispered in horror. The queen's face remained still, but her eyes, they burned. He knelt down, picked up the broken crown, and snapped a shard from its edge. He handed it back to her. "I don't want a crown," he said. "Then what do you want?" she asked. He looked around. "I want to build something worth defending." A pause. "With you." That night they stood on the roof of the highest tower. The stars were clear again. His voice broke the silence. "I'm not your mate, I know. I'm not your subject, I wouldn't want that." He turned to her. "Then what am I?" She stepped close, touched his hand. "You are my beginning," she said. "And if we survive long enough, maybe my peace." Down below, soldiers trained in new formations, using tactics he taught them. Council halls echoed with debates about a new alliance with Earth. And somewhere, deep in a lab, a device blinked. A signal to Earth. But this time, not a cry for rescue. Message from him. "I am Darren Hale, formerly of Earth. Now, of something greater. I bring warning. I bring hope. I bring a future. We are not alone. And we are not weak.